Welcome back to the Nomad's Notebook podcast. My name is Joe Maxwell, and today I want to talk about human connections and specifically breakups and why they're so difficult for us to get over. One of the things that I've realized as I've gotten older is the importance that we place on family. At least for me, it seems to increase the older I get. I left home when I was 18. I was sick of my parents, and I came from a pretty religious, kind of a strict upbringing, so to speak. So I was kind of ready to really set out on my own path and do my own thing and have freedom. And I loved it. But as I got older, graduated college, I ended up moving to Texas, which is really far from my parents' house in rural Ontario, Canada. It was hard to get home. And especially with the COVID pandemic, it made travel even more difficult. I started to crave more and more time with my family and back in my hometown because it was something that was just in short supply. And it actually happened a couple Christmases ago due to an issue with my work visa. I was actually stuck in the United States for Christmas, and I wasn't able to get home and spend time with my family, which was a really eye-opening experience. And it showed me beyond career and money and chasing our own paths that family ultimately is a really important thing, and that's something that's highlighted as you progress through life. And I think why that was so highlighted for me was suddenly the ability to see my family and to spend time with them at a crucial time in the year, right? Christmas, that's when everyone wants to be home with family, at least if you have a good connection with them. That ability was taken away from me, and it was totally out of my control. So the supply of my family was taken. And this is, I think, a fundamental law, again, of the universe, right? So many things are evident in patterns around in different parts of life. Just the idea that when things are in abundance, they're not as valuable as when they're not, right? That's the supply and demand rule, right? If something has a bigger supply, then there's going to be a lower demand for it, and vice versa, right? Gold is hard to get. There's not a whole lot of it. That's why it's so valuable. The same goes for relationships, I think, because I look back at the time when I was a teenager, and obviously part of this is just maturing with life too, but I had an abundance of time with my parents when I was a teenager. Way too much time, actually, to the point where I just needed to get away. But then when the roles were reversed and I had no time from them, I actually wasn't able to spend time with them, then suddenly that relationship became a lot more important in my life. So I think this relates to a dating relationship too, right? If you're dating a woman and you're really interested in her, you think things are going well from your perspective, you're wanting to spend more time with her, and then she suddenly breaks up with you. Maybe you don't agree with it, but it doesn't matter. She ghosts you. She's out of your life. You no longer have any access to her. Then your desperation to spend time with her is going to go through the roof, right? Because suddenly this thing that you had is suddenly gone and it's taken away out of your control, right? At least in my experience, breakups have usually been a little easier when I'm the one breaking up because I feel like I have a sense of control, right? Like this thing could continue if I wanted it to, but I don't want it to continue. So I'm deciding to end it. And yeah, you might still feel lonely or, personally, I don't enjoy hurting people's feelings. So those conversations are never easy, but they don't have the same breaking down effect that being dumped comes with, especially if you're really into the person, if you're more into them than say they are to you. But the takeaway for today's little talk is that things are going to be out of your control. That's inevitable. You're not going to be able to control everything in life because there are other people, and other people have the autonomy to make decisions that will impact your life. There's no way around that. What I want you to do is start applying a more stoic mentality to your life. And that mentality is not getting worked up about things that are out of your control, because logically, why would you? There's no point. If there's nothing you can do about something, why would you gripe about it? Just have some self-discipline and really zero in on the things that you can control. And that's going to make your life a lot better and a lot more peaceful in the long run.